Well, all right, let's try this again. Hey, everybody, it's the Cannabis News. I'm Rick Thompson. Let's do it. Remember EVALI? That's the formal name for the e-cigarette and vaping associated lung injury syndrome that caused a national panic recently. A study published in the Journal of American Medical Association by scientists at Indiana University found that EVALI cases were less likely in states with legal recreational cannabis industries. Here's a quote from their study. One possible inference from our results is that the presence of legal markets for marijuana has helped mitigate or maybe protective against EVALI. Nice, huh? Now, which among us, who's using cannabis to ward off COVID-19? This guy. But that's not as crazy a proposition as it may sound. A new article by Detroit-based Metro Times summarizes the research into cannabis and coronavirus. Researchers in Canada have found that certain cannabis strains may reduce COVID-19's ability to infect the lungs, as well as other susceptible tissues along the intestines and oral cavity. How'd they figure that out? It's a fun story. Those Canadian scientists created 400 new sativa strains and extracts and then tested them against artificial human 3D tissue models. There's a dozen that warrant further investigation. Those strains are high in CBD, unsurprisingly, and some strains reduced virus receptors by 73%. Israeli scientists are trying to treat patients infected with the coronavirus using cannabis. Clinical trials will start soon, and the hope is to use cannabinoids to halt something called a cytokine storm within the human body, and that's where our immune system mistakenly attacks our healthy cells. And what about cannabis as a vaccine? Maybe, says University of Saskatchewan researchers who are producing cannabis-based proteins for use in a potential vaccine treatment for coronavirus. Okay, how about smoking fat joints as a way to defeat the coronavirus? Yeah, that's a hard maybe, according to French scientists. Global pandemic data shows that in certain countries, more non-smokers were hospitalized with coronavirus than smokers were. 26% of China's adults smoke cigarettes. Only 8% of COVID-19 patients in that country were smokers. Other countries had similar findings. Nicotine reduces the number of ACE2 cells in our lungs, giving fewer places for the coronavirus to take hold and start infections. But the evidence is uncertain if just smoking in general accomplishes the same reduction. You keep doing your research. Michigan's Attorney General, Dana Nessel, signed on to a letter asking the United States House and Senate leadership to approve the Safe Banking Act as part of the latest coronavirus relief package. Joining Nessel were 33 other state attorneys general. The letter comes after the House passed the coronavirus relief package on May 15th and sent it to the Senate, included in the Safe Banking Act, as part of the relief package. The act would remove federal barriers and allow the banking industry to work openly, without penalty, with cannabis-based businesses in states where those businesses are licensed. The proposal also includes paying for annual surveys of the cannabis industry to measure the level of minority and female-owned businesses as a gauge of the diversity of the industry, which sounds good. This is the second time the Safe Banking Act has passed the Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives. It was passed as a single proposal last fall, but went nowhere. This effort at bundling the SAFE Act along with the coronavirus relief package may sound like the Congress is trying to combine their home and auto insurance for a big discount, but this is how Congress has passed cannabis proposals for years. In order to avoid Republican roadblocks, pro-cannabis bills, like the one that takes away funding for federal cannabis prosecutions, they've been linked to budget proposals. Now, unfortunately, the Senate Majority Leader, Republican Mitch McConnell, he's blustered that the Safe Banking Act is dead on arrival. McConnell said some pretty harsh things and even pointed out that the word cannabis is mentioned 68 times in the new coronavirus relief package, more times than the word jobs appear. The stimulus package is being debated this coming week in the Senate. Will we get the Safe Banking Act passed? We'll see. Stay tuned. On May 21st, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam signed legislation to decriminalize cannabis into law, making Virginia the 27th state in the nation to decriminalize simple cannabis possession. That law will take effect on July 1st, 2020, the bill reclassifies possession of 1 ounce of cannabis or less to a civil penalty, punishable by a fine of up to $25. Can you say Ann Arbor, anybody? Now, that happens to be the lowest fine of any state decriminalization law in the country. Cannabis possession in Virginia currently brings a criminal offense punishable by up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. You know, nearly 29,000 arrests in 2018 were made in Virginia for cannabis offenses, 59% of the total drug arrests in the state. They can use a break. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Cannabis News. I'm Rick Thompson. Thanks for listening. Watch me on Jazz Cabbage Cafe every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. and on various other programs during the week broadcast here in Michigan. Have a great Saturday. We'll see ya.